Hey, great to have you back. Today, what we're looking at is Night and Day, a fabulous old standard tune written by Cole Porter. And it makes for not only a really fun tune to improvise over, but also a really nice opportunity for chord melody. So, so what we'll start with is a harmonic analysis of the tune. Now, I really encourage you to make this a habit in your everyday practice and study. Uh, a harmonic analysis is essential if what you want to do is learn to improvise over the tune. You've got to know where you're going. It's like building a map for yourself, building an understanding for yourself. And when you do that, it will translate to the. You'll have to translate it to the fretboard as well. Every tune is individual. There's always something to learn with every standard that you'll do. So let's start with the first chord. No, let's start with the key signature. Let's start with the key signature. Here we are. No sharps, no flats. What does that tell us? We're in the key of C major or A minor, but I can tell that we're not in the key of A minor because at measure 3, the first resolution point is a C major chord. So we're in the key of C major. But here we start with something a little bit unusual right at the beginning. We've got a D minor 7 flat 5 chord that in turn leads to a G7. So we've got a 2 chord, a 5 chord, and a 1 chord. But that D minor 7 flat 5 chord is a little interesting because you can't get you can't derive a D minor 7 flat 5 chord from the major tonality of C major. That flat 5 note is not in a C major scale. So the question is, well, what is that note? Like where does that note come from? That note's very significant. It actually comes from the parallel minor key, and that's also very significant when it comes to improv with this tune specifically. So when I say parallel minor key, that means we can derive this D minor 7 flat 5 chord from the key of C minor, as we can a G7 chord. We could derive that from the key of C harmonic minor, right, or C melodic minor, and then we resolve to the C major. So we're going, if you listen to the D minor 7 flat 5, and then to G7, and it's ambiguous, right? But when you get to that third chord, the C major, you can tell that there's this little lift upwards, right? And that little lift upwards is we've entered the major key, right? So here this could be minor. There's that lift, major third, and then it repeats. And that major third pops in again. So essentially, what you've got in that first 8 measures is a 2-5-1 progression, but that 2 chord and the 5 chord could be interpreted as being in a minor key. And that's the trick, that's the fun trick that happens here. But it gets even better as we move along. So we've got, I would call this a parallel minor 2, and either a major or a minor 5 chord, and then the 1 chord, and then again the parallel minor 2, either the 5 chord or in minor or major, and then a resolution to the major chord. Okay, then we've got this nice little movement down, chromatic movement downward. I'll take it up here. All right, so you can hear the chords chromatically. Man, the whole, if you can hear a chromatic line going down through that entire 8 measure passage there. Okay, so we've got the looking at the chords again. F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Whenever you see a flat 5, you think to yourself, a minor 7 flat 5, I should say. Whenever you see a minor 7 flat 5, you got to think to yourself, assume that it's a 2 chord in a minor key. In this case, it's the 2 chord in the E key of E minor, but we have this insertion of the 4 minor chord. Now, the 4 minor chord is also of special interest because it also comes from the parallel minor key of C minor. The F minor chord is the 4 minor in the key of C minor. So once again, now we've got D minor 7 flat 5, which is a minor chord which is a 2 chord in a minor key. And we've also got a 4 chord, which is the 4 minor, which is a minor in a minor key, the 4 chord in a minor key. So you can see this playing between parallel major, parallel minor. When I say the words parallel, it means the key of C major and the key of C minor. Those are parallel, not relative. C major, C minor, right? Okay, parallel. Now, so we have this 2 chord in E minor, minor 2 chord in E minor, and then the F minor 4 chord in the minor parallel minor key, then the 3 chord in the major key, then a passing diminished. We're just going to call this a passing diminished. These diminished chords are quite they can produce different names. You can end up with different names. Like for instance, this would also work as a D7 flat 9. But this is a nice passing diminished. It continues this chromatic movement. If you look at the bass lines, you've got F sharp, chromatic down to F, chromatic down to E, chromatic down to the E flat, chromatic down to D, and then until we finally get to a 5 chord, which leads us back to the 1 chord in the 1 major, in the 1 major chord. Okay, so that gives us a total of 16 measures. The first 8 measures, 2, 5, 1. 2, 5, 1 repeated, and then the next 8 measures, this lovely descending progression coming down from the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, and finally landing on the C major chord as the point of resolution. There are 16 measures in this section, 8 measures plus 8 measures, A, right? A classic song form. Okay. So now, after our first ending, of course, we would go back to the top, and then we wouldn't take the first ending, the second time. We take the second ending, and this chord here is tells us something. This B flat 7. Where the heck did a B flat 7 come from? We certainly don't get a B flat 7 chord from the key of C major anywhere, right? There are notes here that just don't belong in a C major scale. and we have to try to explain what scale this comes from. Well, this is the 5 chord in the key of E flat, and that's precisely where it's resolving to. So we've got a 5 to a 1, and here I'll play a little bit, and just so you can hear that second ending. So I'm going to take it from the F sharp minor 7 flat 5. 2. There's the C major, and then we have, you can hear that's totally sets up, and listen. So as you can hear, we've gone through a pretty obvious, that's the word I was looking for, a pretty obvious modulation there. But what's the significance of the modulation to E flat? This is really cool. The significance of the modulation to E flat is that it is the relative major of C minor. So we've been hinting at this whole idea of C minor being within the first 16 measures here, with the 4 minor in 4 minor from a C minor, and the 2 minor 7 flat 5 from the parallel C minor. But now we just make it totally obvious. It's just made totally obvious, and we go to the flat 3 major chord of C minor. Now let's just flip it upside down or backwards or whatever, and you probably know what your relative minors are. So if we're going to look at the relative minor key of E flat, what we do is go, the easiest way is just to go back a minor third. And there it is. So that gives us that if we go back a minor third from the E flat to the C minor, that gives us the relative minor of E flat. But the other way, if we go from C minor up, looking at it from what's the relative major to C minor, you just take it, you go the other way, just step up a minor third going the other way. So this E flat major 7 is the flat 3 major chord in the minor key, or but the way you're going to improvise over this is looking at it strictly as a major E flat major chord, right? So you'd be right. You're in E flat major at that point, right? And then we go back down to C major, not C minor. Cool. So it results in this cool little modal progression. Right? Isn't that pretty? So you can hear what's happening there. You're going from the E flat down to the C major in parallel, right? Now, when I say the movement, the voice movement is like parallel. In other words, it's cool to move all the voices in the same direction. It sounds sort of cool in this way. So it's like, right? So that would mean when voice is meaning there's 4 notes in an E flat major 7 chord, and those 4 notes are all going to move the same direction at the same time down to a C major 7. and the same voicing of the chord. It's pretty. You can do it that way, or there's other ways to do it too. And then the last eight, we do that lovely little chromatic bit again. And then we're finished the 32 measure form. So what we've got here is a 32 measure form, and using this whole idea of parallel major and parallel minor in the subtext, if you will, of the harmony that's there. And if you miss that, that would be a real shame, because that's one of the things that makes this tune come alive. It's one of the things that makes this tune, harmonically interesting and melodically interesting for that matter, right? So if you do a harmonic analysis of your own, it should look something like this, right? You can take the previous chart out of your real book or whatever, but you would just write the chords over the chord functions over top of the chord. In this case, it would be more specific and more accurate to write 2M, the 2 chord in the minor key, and then the 5 and the 1, 2, 5, 1, and then you've got the 2 of the E minor to the 4 minor to the 3 chord, which is the 3 chord in the key of C major, E minor, right? And in the passing diminished chord, D minor 7 flat 5 is the 2 in the parallel minor key, 5 and C major 1. Then when we go to the B section, it's E flat major 7 is the flat 3 major, which is relative to C minor, and then the 1 chord, flat 3 major, and then back to the 1 chord. And then that same chromatic movement that we've looked at before. You've got your the 2 of E minor, the minor 4 chord, the 3 chord, passing diminished, a 2, a 5, and a 1, and that's the end of the tune. So that's a bit of a harmonic analysis, and that kind of harmonic analysis will help you get through understanding the tune, digging into the meat of the tune, and finding those elements, harmonic elements and melodic elements that make the tune individual, that make that tune special, and recognize and discover and mine for what makes the tune special. So parallel major and parallel minor. I hope this was a help to you. I actually really dig doing analysis like this, because it informs my playing and where I'm going, and it just makes it lots more fun. It makes it richer, and I'd like to pass that on to you. So if this is a help to you, please subscribe or click like. That helps us. If you have any questions, please ask away. We try to answer all the questions that we get. So see you soon, and that was Night and Day in the key of C. You should be able to find that in your real book. All right, see you later.